Oh, and we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to Crossing the Streams, the only show that has Bob Phillips muted, so you don't have to. we are here to talk to you about some amazing shows that you can be streaming all over the streaming networks. We have our guest, Marci Kozin Stifter, with us today.
Thank you for having me.
And as always, we kick it off with the theme song. Take it away, Marci.
Here's the story of some lonely fellas who spend way too much time watching the TV. All of them have jobs and friends. Well, no, not really. Just between you and me. They made a live show out of their hobby. Every TV watcher's TV watching dream. Jeff and Ron and Saul and Bob, and then there's Howard. They call it Crossing Streams. And then one day they went live on all platforms. You could hear the people laugh and shout and scream. Still can't find another word that rhymes with platform. But man, we cross the streams. We cross the streams. We cross the streams. That's the way we cross the streams.
It always is a harsh landing. It's like a nice plane. You did great, Marci.
Wow, thank you. Thank you.
And just so you know, we're being seen live in over 1,700 countries, 62 states. Half of which are Republican. It's a good time, and so we are again. Welcome everybody to Crossing the Streams. Hello, Casey Ryan Plott. Casey
the
Ryan
notorious
Plott,
CRP.
The goal of every person doing a show is to convince Casey Ryan Plott that they should watch it. And Mick Manhattan says hi. Mick, always a watcher, never a contestant. But one day we'll have you back, Mick. And then, hello, Jen.
Hello,
Jen Tyler in the house. That's my girl.
All right, Marci, we bring. Always good. So we're going to be talking about some awesome shows that everybody should be streaming. And if you're not watching or you're watching this on replay, you can watch it live on YouTube, the Jeff Dwoskin Show channel, or Facebook.com/Jeff is funny. But I do want to give our guests a quick intro. Marci Kozin Stifter, worldwide renowned comedian. Marci, tell everyone about us. Tell everyone about you and your chickens. We want to know all about it.
Yes, I am Marci Kozin Stifter. I'm a mortgage broker in West Bloomfield. I'm a real estate agent as well. And sometimes I may make someone laugh. We did get 6 chickens for COVID, and we do get about 4 to 6 eggs a day. And that's pretty much, I've got two boys and a lovely husband. I mean, I won't really go into it, but it's all good. It's all good. And I definitely watch a lot of television. So it's great to be here. And I appreciate you inviting me.
Oh, well, good. Hey, Marci lost 2 chickens recently. Our thoughts and prayers go out to you. And we hope for a speedy.
She literally had a fox in the hen house.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I do want to say today is my youngest daughter's birthday. My youngest daughter is a photo. That's her right there. That's Emma.
Happy birthday, Emma.
She's now 19. Well, she was a little younger there. But the yes, right. Famous papa.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank God she wasn't in the Snyder Cut.
Oh, yeah, true.
Hi, Mom. My mom's here. My mom's in the house.
Hi, Marci's mom. I know you. Hi, Lee. Hi, Jerry. Jerry's awesome.
Got a full house tonight.
We got a full house. Jerry's our super fan. He's got all these cool art that he does. So definitely check him out on Instagram. He's a big supporter. Check that out.
We got to bring our A game with this crowd today.
I know. We got it. It's going good. So everyone who's tuning in last week. Wait, let me. I got to get rid of Jerry's comment as much as we love Jerry. Last week we covered in episode 17 Kingdom, which I think Howard has a quick update on. We have Who Killed Sarah we talked about, and Don't Fuck with the Cats, and Orange is the New Black. amongst many other shows that Terry Stern's daughter had been in. We covered all those in episode 17. So that was kind of great. If you want to check that out, they're all the past episodes are on the YouTube channel. This week, before we get to the big Netflix Metrix, which I know everyone's waiting for.
Wow, he said it right.
I've been practicing. This week, we're going to talk about episodes, Deceptive Practice, Mysterious and Mentors of Ricky J, The Last Chance You, and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So we're going to talk about those today. As always, I invite everyone to comment along. We'll put you on the screen. We're going to have some good fun with that. And as always, it's that time of the show, ladies and gentlemen, for the Netflix Metrix.
Oh, you started saying it right. That's upsetting. Now
I know.
it takes a little gas out of it. Yeah, it really takes the gas out of my wind. But anyway, if you haven't watched this before, what I do is I watch the top 10 in the U.S. on Netflix every single day because it turns out there are 74 million people in the U.S. that watch Netflix, and I am pretty much proven by now that they are crazy by what they watch because the algorithm is whatever they watched the most of yesterday is what I have to watch today. So today, what's on there? Unfortunately, number 10 is Coco Melon, which lets me know that obviously parents don't watch their kids at all and the television is doing it. It is on there for 166 days now. So I love Coco Melon now, which is great. Number 9, Legally Blonde, which is that old Reese Witherspoon movie, which is a great movie. It's actually a pretty good Broadway show. But recently it just popped up in here, so that was cool. Saving Private Ryan, which if you don't know this indie war movie, very, very low budget, kind of a nobody cast. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, huge movie, Private Ryan, Oscar-winning movie. Great deals on there, which is the exact opposite of number 7. Number 7 is Sniper: Ghost Shooter. It's been on here for 3 days now. It came out in 2016, and it stars Billy Zane, which lets you know exactly how bad this is. It also stars Chad Michael Collins. It's written by Michael Frost Beckner and directed by Don Markle Paul. The synopsis really is that snipers orders to protect a gas pipeline from terrorist suspects as security breach when they're targeted by a ghost shooter who knows their location. This thing is so stupid. It is so boring, so slow. It is. It's in like the Sniper series, which long ago had Tom Berenger. I think this is number 5 or 6. It is such a slug of a movie. Please don't watch it. They're really just going, they're going by Billy Zane's face on the cover. Yeah, like that. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, gun joke. Yeah, clever.
There you go.
So yeah, Sniper: Ghost Shooter, not great. Number 6, we have Friends with Benefits, which is the Justin Timberlake Mila Kunis movie that everybody loves. For some reason, this thing was a huge push in the movie theater. It has like $180 million in total gross. But if you like a cute little rom-com, Friends with Benefits. Number 5, Family Reunion. I passed right over this. I don't really know why, because number 4 was Concrete Cowboy. And I've been waiting a long time to watch this movie. I'm a huge fan of Idris Elba. I met Liz Priestley, who's in this movie, and it also stars Lorraine Toussaint and Caleb McLaughlin from Stranger Things. It is one of the most beautiful movies I've seen recently. It's written and directed by Ricky Staub and also written by Dan Wassler. Beautiful, beautiful movie. Cinematography is amazing. The cast is amazing. The problem is that it's boring. It's boring and it's tropey. When it first starts, the story is that Caleb plays this young kid, Cole, and he's sent to live with his estranged father for the summer. He's a rebellious teen, and he finds kinship in a tight-knit Philadelphia community of black cowboys. The thing is that this is a true story based on some black cowboys in Philadelphia that raised horses on the streets and had horses in their house. It's a cool idea. The problem is that
Like
it's
chickens.
just kind of, yeah. The problem is that it's so tropey. You know, it's another one of these movies where you have an African-American community that has dealt with debt and drugs and all this normal tropey things that comes when I think you don't really have people of color writing stories about people of color. It is written and directed by 2 white guys, and even though the story is beautiful and it probably should be told, I think that it's just missing some actual heart that the community probably has. And I was in like that yawny state halfway through because I'm like, just let something happen that isn't, he's battling drugs and he gets horse poop on his Jordans. I understand. Like, give me a good story. So beautiful movie, beautiful movie. But
hey, Zach, I don't mean to interrupt real quick, but a couple of things. One is, if anyone had, how long will Bob be here? Only 9 minutes and 44 seconds. Then you won. Just put your name in the comments, and we'll take care of that.
I guess he ran out of Wi-Fi, huh?
Yeah, he ran.
Sal, is his internet like Verizon in the old days? Like he has minutes and he used them up. He'll pop back on after midnight when it's available again, or if we did the show on the weekend, he'd be great.
He's just got a bad internet. I don't know if his house just sits right in between two satellites that can't get to him or something. I don't know.
So that's,
I can see him. You guys don't see Bob? It's right there.
Nope.
So let me say
I
something
can picture him, but
let me say something about Concrete Cowboy. The Liz Priestley actually was a guest on the show.
She was on the show, yeah.
She was
great. She's great.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying. So she joined us episode, I think 2 or 3, and so it's really interesting. If you go to my podcast, and not to plug it, but I'm going to, live from Detroit, the Jeff Dwoskin Show, my interview with Liz Priestley. What's interesting about it is we talked a lot about the movie, but the whole background of Concrete Cowboys and what Cowboys means in the community and all that kind of stuff. There's a whole background to it where it was just fascinating. I don't want to give it away or go into it because I don't want to not do it justice, but it's a fascinating thing that the movie covers. I haven't seen it yet. I was going to watch it this weekend, and before Zach ruined it for me. But but I still encourage everyone to check it out. Check out our friend.
Yeah, it is
Liz. And plus for the women, I believe Idris Elba is
No, he's gorgeous. It is so well acted, and it is so gorgeous, and the cast is phenomenal. And I was so upset that it falls into those normal tropes. Like, you can literally, like, if you were to watch this movie and say, I think in 5 minutes this is going to happen, it will happen. It's exactly what you think it's going to happen. It's an estranged son battling to get back with his dad, and or blah blah blah. It's all that stuff. It is just so gorgeous and so well acted. So please watch it. Check it out. I just, I'm particular when it comes to what I'm into.
Sure. Jerry did jump in. He's wondering if Bob is using AOL. He does. He did. Bob was just saying he finally got another one of those discs in the mail.
Yeah, I have a couple if he needs another one.
Fred, another friend of Liz. FOL.
Maybe
friend of Liz.
Does somebody keep picking up the phone in Bob's house and
disconnecting? I don't know. Gladly. Yeah, if we do recommend, definitely check out Concrete Cowboy.
I finally got that guy convinced of something. That's cool. Number 3 is this documentary called The Serpent. It's been there for 4 days. It came out this year. It is written by Richard Warlow. It's 6 episodes. It goes over the twisting real life story of Charles Sabrage. He's a murderer and a thief and a seductive master of disguise who was a hidden darkness in the mid-70s on the Asia's hippie trail. It stars Tara Realm. It's fine. It's based on a true story. It is just aggressively fine. It has a really good pacing to it, but once again, it's the same thing that Netflix does. It's a very cool, very, very interesting movie that would be solid an hour and a half or 2 hours, but they stretch it out to 6-hour-long episodes, so you kind of go over the same thing, and you're like, this is so redundant. But yeah, if you're into aggressively fine things, check out The Serpent. Number 2 is Who Killed Sarah, which is Jeff Dwoskin's least favorite thing right now. And number 1, which lets me know that people on Netflix are absolutely crazy. Number 1 is What Lies Below, which came out last year, written and directed by Braden Doomler. This thing is absolute garbage. It stars Emma Hovarth, Troy Awada, Dan Corbo, and also Mina Suvari. It is the weirdest movie that builds up so much tension in the very beginning. There's so much suspense, and then halfway through, you're like, oh, okay, it's just this thing. It's like a low budget CGI, almost gore fest. The thing is that the main guy is aggressively attractive. He is one of the best looking people I've seen on TV, and I kept watching it because of him. I'm like, this guy's a very good looking guy. I want to see what's going on with this. But it's the CGI is over the top. The acting is not great, and halfway through, it's really just an abysmal movie that you really just don't want to finish. But like I said, that guy is stunning. So if you were into very attractive men going in the water for no reason whatsoever, you'll like What Lies Below. But yeah, don't waste your time. Watch Coco Melon.
I'd like to point out, if I may, and I don't want this to be like mentioning to a pitcher that he's throwing a no-hitter, but we are 2 weeks without iCarly in the top 10.
I know. Last 2 weeks, I have not tweeted or posted about it. I know. I was on 2 shows earlier today, and both shows brought up iCarly. So I guess I got to chill out on that show for a little bit. But yeah, please do not watch iCarly. I cannot handle any more of that.
Can I say something? It's a special guest. So I was just on spring break with my girlfriend, Jen. She's watching this right now. And we had very nice televisions in our room, and she logged into Netflix and watched The Serpent and she was already into it. And I'm like, what are you watching? And she's like, oh, come watch it with me. But she was, I can't start in the middle, but she's loving it. So I'm glad to hear that it's on your top 10.
Yeah, I mean, the story is very cool and it is very interesting, like most of the docudramas that Netflix has. My only problem is that the last 15 minutes of every episode gets retread the first 15 minutes of the following episode. So you kind of get on this cycle thing where you're like, I feel like I already know this. Get to the part that I'm interested in. It is very cool and the story is very interesting. I just wish they would speed it up and not push everything into a series. But interesting.
Okay.
Can we talk about Who Killed Sarah for a second? Because
you're wrong about that, by the way.
Well, maybe you can convince me. So I watched it based on I watched the show Crossing the Streams, and it was on last week, and so I started watching it. Oh, Sal, tell everyone what when you're doing the show, what the person came up to you in the audience and said.
Oh, yeah, no, in Kenosha, Wisconsin, somebody's walking out and they said, hey, love you on Crossing the Streams.
Wow.
Wow. Cool. Thought you guys knew that.
Wisconsin and Norway is where our number one and two.
We're big in Kenosha, man.
We're big in Wisconsin. So all our sponsors are cheese. So I'm watching Who Killed Sarah. I watched the first episode. I convinced my wife to watch it, even though she's not into where the mouth doesn't match the words, and so it's a Spanish dub thing.
There's a comment there to be made in some ways.
I love that stuff.
And so my problem with it was the show starts, Sarah dies. Spoiler. I mean, I don't think is that even considered a spoiler when a show's called Who Killed Sarah? But so she dies, and then they kind of flash forward, and the guy gets out of jail. And he's going to exact revenge, but he exacts revenge from his house. And the people he's exacting revenge from is like I would consider mobbish type people. And so, but he's doing it from his house. It's like, oh, okay, maybe I'm going to exact revenge on the most powerful people who own the casino and are the mafia. And I'm going to do it from my house. I'm going to do it from my house where they know I live. It's not even just like it happens to be his house. They've been to his house. They were friends. And suddenly after 20 years of being in jail, 18 years of being in jail, he's a technical expert and can break into casinos. And also he tips his hand so fast. I'm coming for you. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if the other people were so rich, they should have just paid him. Like, oh, he did the time to protect my son. So there was just so many things coming at me that I was just like, it's not jiving with me. I'm not sure I could really kind of get behind the recommendation from the last episode. But are you telling me, Zach, that I should give it one more chance?
No, what I'm telling you is that this show is a telenovela. It is designed to be a soap opera. You are going to get a lot of crazy story. You're going to get a whole lot of weird stuff that doesn't really make sense, but that is the genre. So if you do not like that, That is true. It is aggressively fine. I watched it all. I don't have a problem with the mouth moving thing. I love watching foreign shows. Because of this top 10 thing, I have to watch a lot of weird foreign stuff. But this was on there for a long time. And after episode 2, I fell into it and I was okay with it. I will not suggest it as something that is a must watch, but I will defend it against people that say it's not good.
I will say from a previous episode when Joel Byers was on, and he recommended the Great British Bake Show.
Very good.
I'm 2 seasons in now. I'm hooked.
Wow.
Those British
It's
people know how to make. They know how to make a show. They don't do all the bullshit American stuff like, oh, Marci or Rosner, one of you are gonna go right after this message. You know what I mean? It's like they don't do that. They just go, hey, Howard, you're out. And they don't. They just cut right to it.
But they're so nice.
Yeah,
so
that
nice.
was the thing that we talked about. Everybody on the show is nice. It's like, there's nobody yelling or screaming in anybody's face.
Yeah.
Like, that's not the best brownie I've ever had. And as I pointed out to Jeff when he texted that he loved the show, my wife and I have on more than one occasion been watching the Great British Baking Show and had to stop and have desserts delivered via DoorDash. That's a true story.
I was talking to Robert. Marcy's mom likes Who Killed Sarah. I got to string.
Oh, she likes Who Killed Sarah.
Yeah, I'm assuming she did that stuff.
Okay.
Not happy with you.
Jason Taylor says hi, everybody. So does Fred. What do you got?
Can I just give a quick update on Kingdom that I mentioned last week?
Sure, go ahead.
So, no, it's not a rant. This is not a rant. This is we'll get to one later. Don't worry. So I did the review on that show, and I know a big part of it for me that I mentioned was that it was really good. It was kind of an alpha male, MMA, aggressive guy kind of show, but that I thought it really had some very excellent drama and heartwarming parts and very emotional, moving parts. And I was 2 of the 3 seasons in, so finished the last season last week afterwards. And the last season took all of those things to an even more extreme level. Jonathan Tucker, who I know I mentioned last week, who's starring in a new show on NBC called Debris, is superb. My wife, it's one of those shows we've talked about before where, my wife was kind of just watching it in the background and then got into it, and she was hooked because of the caliber of acting. The MMA, she could have, she could take it or leave it, but the quality of the acting and the scripting that last season especially, it's excellent. Do not miss it. Again, it's gone from Netflix the end of this month, but it's an easy watch. I can't recommend it enough.
All right, like Cadbury eggs. it's gonna be gone. All right. Well, that was Zach. The Netflix Metrix was amazing. Great job, sir. I'm glad.
Hang on. I have a beef though. I have a beef with Zach. He said 74 million users. But Marci earlier said she used somebody else's password to watch it. So that means it's 73,999,999 people.
I gotta change my intro.
Yeah. And Sal, she said that in private. Okay, let's keep going. We're going to get to the first show for today. Last Chance You, the Emmy-nominated series on Netflix. It's a sports show, I'm guessing, and Sal is going to tell us all about it.
Yeah, well, actually, I think the movie poster you put up was for the football one, but it's easy to get that one confused with it, Jeff, because that was the first one. They did a Last Chance You football edition, and it was for a community college football program down in Mississippi State, and that was very, very popular. And it did very, very well. So this is the second installment of that series, and this is a basketball one, and it's really it's Jeff. So anyway,
you told me that, and I still had no problem with this image.
Oh, it's that's not football helmets.
That's how attuned to sports I am. That's basketball enough for Sal.
I know. You could have just put up the Bad News Bears poster, and it would have worked out just as well. But anyway, this is the basketball version of the football, and this takes place with a community college in East LA. It's literally called East LA College, and they've got a horrible basketball program. And in 2019 to 20 year, they decided to do a documentary, not knowing what's going to happen in the future, obviously. And it follows this team around because this particular team, like a lot of small Division III schools across the country, really, they have a lot of the players that they have the talent to get to Division I, but for whatever reason, whether it's their grades, their GPA, their SAT scores, maybe some problems with the law or whatever, they don't get to go to the Dukes and the North Carolina and the Michigan, and they've got to show their talents and work the community college circuit for 1, 2, 3 years. It doesn't matter. Some of these guys will only play a Division I school for 1 year, but that's their chance to kind of make it into the NBA. So this particular school takes on this guy named Joe Hampton and Malik Mohammed. They're two outstanding basketball players that had low GPAs, and they won. I think Joe went to Penn State, and then he had to leave because of grades. So now he goes and plays at East LA. And the coach there, the coach that's in the documentary, his name is John Mosley. He played there years ago, like in the 80s when they were horrible, and they weren't a very good program back then. And now he's back coaching at his alma mater to kind of turn this program around. It's about, I think it's 8 or 9 episodes. It takes the team along this trail of trying to win their state championship in Division III, which would be a big deal to them and for the level of play that they're at. And obviously with what happens in March of 2020, I won't kind of ruin it for you, but things get kind of halted at the end of the docu-series. But all in all, it shows a lot of coaching moments, which I like. I don't know what your athletics are, you guys, but I played like high school basketball, baseball, football. So just hearing the coaches, the scenes where the coach is talking and just doing pep talks to these guys just brought back a lot of memories for me and listening to my coach. And he also teaches these guys life lessons as well. I mean, obviously these players are very talented, but they've got issues at home, whether it's their schooling or their neighborhoods they grew up in. So this coach does a really nice job kind of mentoring these kids along the way. And it was very, very well done. I give it 4 tomato sauce jars. 4 tomatoes. And it's a very, very well docuseries. And yes, so I highly recommend it. If you're into sports documentaries and just seeing these kids kind of go along their path to try to win a championship and also learn about life as well and get to the next level. I don't want to ruin it to where all the athletes go, but one of the kids, Malik Mohammed, will be playing for Central Michigan University in 2022, the next college basketball season. So
that's pretty cool.
That'll be cool to watch him. So anyway, and then the other guy went to a Division I school as well. They all do very, very well. You'll kind of get to know each player and their family story and where they come from, and then you'll kind of see where they go on after East LA College. So it's very, very well done.
That's awesome. I don't know. That may or may not be Zach.
No, I guess my writing partner Dylan's watching somewhere. That's cool.
And then Jerry says kingdom, more like kingdom. Some of the best jokes come from the audience.
So I haven't seen Last Chance U yet, but we are in a golden age of sports documentaries. Just the access and the ease of being able to put these together, and it's amazing. ESPN 30 for 30 sort of set a new standard by which all other sports documentaries are measured, and now they just get better and better and better. It's amazing. They're just amazing.
I agree, man.
All of Marci's family is tuning in.
That's some good family.
That is good family. So since they are all tuned in, let's get to Marci Kozin.
Yeah.
Stifter.
He's on the stage.
For 20 years this year.
20 years. Episodes. This is the other
Nice.
sequel to Friends that Matt LeBlanc was part of. The first one, Joey, that didn't last very long. Tell us all about episodes, Marci.
Okay, well, I'm glad that my brother chimed in because the only reason I ever watched this show is because he hounded me for so long. And he watched it and told me it was hilarious. And I didn't watch it. And I would go on Facebook and just complain about these awful shows. Like This Is Us. I'd say, I'm turning it off. I'm so bored. Why does everyone love it? And he'd say, I told you to watch episodes. And I'd mention another show and another show. And every time he'd be right there in a comment, I told you to watch episodes. And finally, one day I turned it on with my son who, I don't know, it was probably a little inappropriate for him, but we sat down and we watched all 5 episodes so fast. And Matt LeBlanc does play himself, and it is after he's Joey on Friends. And I got to tell you, it is laugh out loud hilarious. The writers are great. I enjoyed it very much. I'm pretty sure that my son immediately turned around and watched them all again because that's, he's got more time than I do. But I really love the characters. It never got boring, and they ended it. This is so important. They ended it well. When a funny show can end at 5 seasons, and then the very last episode, you're like, yes, thank you. That was great. I enjoyed every bit of it from beginning to end. But I did see it, I didn't just watch it. So it's been maybe a couple years, but it's one of my favorites. And I highly recommend it because honestly, when I bring it up, most people haven't seen it.
Matt LeBlanc, I believe, won the Emmy, or he won some award for it.
Good.
He won some, maybe not an Emmy, but maybe a Golden Globe. But I don't know, something.
Okay. Maybe some sauce, some sauce or something.
An MTV TV award.
Right. I mean, the premise of the show is that the 2 British characters on the show, who are the writers, the 2 in this picture. They wrote this famous thing in Britain, and they're going to adapt it to the U.S. And so part of it is, like The Office. But part of it is making fun of how they dumb it down so much for an American audience. Like he was like this whatever teacher, and then he becomes like this hockey coach or something, right? I've only saw 2 episodes, and then I didn't. It was, sometimes
you said 2 seasons.
That's what I meant. I meant 2 seasons. And then
I'm like, I'm out of here.
I'm out of here. What I meant was it's one of those things where sometimes these shows take so long to come back, and I didn't know it ever came back, to be honest. Okay. But now I think it's on Netflix, and you can watch it. It originally was on Showtime. Yes. And it's really funny because he plays such a funny version of Matt LeBlanc. It's really, really, really funny. And the best part is,
I'm just going to say. Oh, go ahead. No, please. I want to hear the best part.
I was gonna say the funniest part was the guy who played, I think, him in the British one. They tried to get him into. I remember when he would say the words not in the British accent. He sounded like the biggest ass ever. It was only with the. Am I remembering this right? Like
I don't remember that.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, it's totally worth watching. It's one of those where I think it's a 22-minute episodes, right? I mean, they're short.
Yeah, they're very short.
Yeah. So it's one. Yeah, you can get through them good.
I took this invitation to be your special guest very seriously, and I had to go back and watch some. So I actually asked my son, I'm like, will you watch some episodes with me? And he's like, really? So we sat down yesterday, and I turned one on. I'm like, random, boom. I just played one in like the 4th season or something, and I'm like, oh, and I was dying. I'm dying. It was so funny. I mean, I think I watched 3 in a row. They're very good. So
Jerry, this one is really funny. Wait, Marci's brother. Joey Tribbiani was not great in Lost. First of all, it's Lost in Space, but like he was not great. It's the uncle. Finish episode. I will.
Joey Tribbiani is the Ted McGinley.
He was in Lost in Space.
He was. He was
in the movie.
Yeah.
In that show.
He was in the movie Lost in Space.
Yeah. That's one of
with Heather Graham.
Yeah.
I can't stand these millennials talking about how Friends isn't funny. And you know what? Friends is one of my it's one of my all-time favorites. It is funny. I love it. I can watch it every day. I love Friends. Don't even try and say that is not funny.
It is a great show.
It is a great show.
As we've talked about a couple of times, we're in an era now where the comedies that are on a lot of these streaming services without laugh tracks, I find significantly funnier. Let me take that back. The really funny shows are significantly funnier because if it makes you laugh to yourself without a laugh track, it's really funny.
Yeah, it's very hard for my kids to watch a show with a laugh track now, but I mean, they did enjoy Friends. I don't know.
Yeah, no, Friends was a great. Friends was
some of Friends is like some of it is hilarious. Like my wife watches it every night. That's how we go to bed. And and some of it's questionable now with some of the things that we're a little more woke about now. But I think what you have to remember is it was woke at the time to do it the way they did it. Meaning like they didn't, they having him date his ex-wife being a lesbian and having those characters was having those people represented on TV. Now, as we look at it now, we're like, maybe they could have done it, but at the time,
right.
It was all the best, I think, intentions. But and
right.
eventually they got some black people on the show. It was all white for quite a while.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it has its issues, but Joey was one of the funnier characters. If you rewatch, Joey is one of the few characters that is consistently, he may even get dumber as the show goes on. He was actually smarter, I think, in the earlier episodes, but if you watch Chandler, he can be annoying. Ross goes through a phase where you want to just punch him in the face. Phoebe gets really annoying. Yeah. Monica is always kind of quirky, funny, but it's like she's probably the most consistent. But Joey is always, so when you think like, oh, they were going to make a spinoff of any of the characters and they pick Joey, you're like, oh, that would be the most logical one to spin off. And man, that just did not work.
Yeah.
His character, I think from the beginning, was the most contrived. He was going to be the Fonzie-esque character of the show that they contrived, but he ended up being the most naturally delivered scripted lines, I think, by the end of the show. You're exactly right. Chandler was so forced. Every line had to be a snarky comment, which were funny. Don't get me wrong. And Ross became a blithering idiot by the end of the show. And Joey was consistently funny. To this day, the Trifle show, the Trifle Thanksgiving episode with him eating the trifle is,
Good.
Meat good.
Yeah. That is it. We think about that when we watch the British Bake Show.
Yeah. Absolutely. I will say, Marci, you'll appreciate it. We have a puppy and we found their stuffed squeaky toys of a couch that says Pivot right across it.
Oh, do you see it behind me?
Do you have one too?
Oh, no, my towel behind my head says Pivot.
Oh, Pivot. Nice.
Oh,
I have a Pivot t-shirt too.
Well, now I'm like,
my wife is texting me. Joey doesn't share food.
We have that towel in our kitchen.
Yeah. The best scene of Joey's in Friends. I mean, you can throw another one out. Is when he's with the date and he doesn't share the food, right? And she goes to the bathroom and she comes back and he ate the entire dessert and it's all over him. And he just looks at her and goes, "I don't even care."
It's the funniest show. And so just take it right into episodes. So I hope I've convinced a bunch of people to watch episodes.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
I'm so glad.
I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to it because he's not. The whole cast is really funny. The British writers, hilarious.
Oh my God, Merck, the producer of the show. I mean,
isn't Merck the guy from Mad About You?
Yes, I think he is. Yes, I think it's the writers of Mad About You and the writers of Friends. I think that's who did the. I mean, so that can't be bad.
I'm trying to think. Wasn't Merck? Merck was Ira from Mad About You. Wasn't he?
So if Aaron is watching, he knows the answer to that for sure.
It is, and look, I got it on IMDb.
Okay,
John Pankow. That was him.
Okay.
It was Merck.
The characters are all really. Everyone brings something else to the table, just like Friends, and it is seriously hilarious. But it's Showtime, so it's dirty, it's naked and sex and swearing, and so it's
And
No.
if you can't find episodes streaming, second best would be Man with a Plan. All right, let's move on.
Is that his other sitcom?
Yeah. Mad About You is back. Yeah, it is, Aaron. We talked about it on a previous episode, so go stream all the old episodes. And okay.
Oh, I convinced my mom.
Convinced
How
your
about
mom.
this?
To think you didn't even have to come on the show. You could have just.
Have more wine.
All right. What do we got here? Who's that? Howard.
Yeah.
We got this is Howard's theme where he actually does shows while they're in mid-run. He did the same thing with WandaVision, and now he's here to tell us 3 episodes in of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
So the first thing that I'll mention about this is it's clearly better than Justice League Snyder Cut. It's not even close. The dialogue is so much more interesting and enjoyable. So I'll say this for everybody who watched WandaVision and hasn't gotten to this yet. It definitely lacks some of the charm and intrigue of WandaVision. WandaVision was just a different show. Having said that, it's really good. And this is the other amazing thing. This show is filmed like a major motion picture 10, 12 years ago. Like the action, the CGI, the cinematography is 15 years ago. This would be, major blockbuster, Michael Bay quality, summer blockbuster film. And to see that it's just a small TV show in some ways is really amazing. So the show picks up right after the events of Avengers Endgame. Sam Wilson, Falcon, has given up the shield. That, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Endgame by now, sorry, I don't care. You're an idiot. So the shield that Captain America left him, he's given back, and the show goes on to them trying to get on with their lives. He and Bucky, the Winter Soldier, and then them kind of coming back together to face a new threat, which is basically vigilantes who want to go back to the way things were during the 5 years of the blip between Infinity War and Endgames. And again, it's pretty interesting. There are a lot of connections to the movies the way they were. There are connections certainly to the way things will be, whether it's going to be an actual connection or just another Easter egg, make you think connection like WandaVision did. This 3rd episode that just aired this last week had significant connection to the X-Men and the mutant realm. So, those of us who are comic book readers and came across this are now like, okay, WandaVision, we thought WandaVision was teeing it up. Now you're like, okay, this is teeing it up big time. It's, so Wolverine heavy in reference in this last episode that, for us comic book geeks that you're like, it's gotta be. And it could just be another made you look moment. But again, it's a good series. If you are a lover of the movies, definitely want to watch it because there is going to be connection to the next realm of movies, and hopefully more significantly, just like WandaVision will definitely be connected. Again, it's characters that you probably loved from the MCU movies, and it definitely, again, it's just amazing that it's an hour TV show at that quality. Like it's just stunning to me that that we're in that realm right now. So the guy who plays
we're lucky to be alive. Lucky to be alive.
Yeah, the guy who plays the new Captain America, who is a character from the comic books as well, called U.S. Agent, but he's not that yet. Was I don't know if his favorite role of that I remember him in is he was the quarterback who paired with Channing Tatum in whatchamacallit, the second one where they go to college.
It's Wyatt Russell.
22 Jump Street. Sorry,
It's Kurt Russell's son. It's Curtin.
it is Kurt and Goldie's son. Yeah. He's I loved him in that movie, and yeah.
So I'm a comic fan. I every day of my life is comics. The one thing that I think you left out of your synopsis of the show is the fact that different than WandaVision, there's also a lot of real world things this is getting into, a lot of important race issues, also like kind of using the Tuskegee experiments in real world, the way they did it with Cap and, Isaiah Washington, and a lot of really, really interesting things that they're setting up in the show. Not only Madripoor and Wolverine and all the great comic stuff, but they are taking a second to touch on actual important issues that aren't just Lethal Weapon meets the MCU. So it is a very, 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 you are spot on in everything else that you said. I love how the Watchmen, how they would just make certain touches and you're like, okay, I know why that's there. I get that. That's very special.
Sure.
So big fan.
It's so far a much more subtle show than WandaVision, which not a bad thing. It's a little bit more, I think the acting I think is really, really good. And again, like it just goes to show, again, not to be a hater, but I'm gonna be, of the Snyder cut, but the dialogue was so abysmal in that, and in an hour show of Bucky and Sam talking about, how disappointing to Bucky it is that Sam gave up the shield, and mentioning other things. The dialogue between the two of them is far superior to anything in that movie in 4 hours. It's just so much more thoughtful, I think. And I really enjoy it, and I'm very much looking forward to the next episode.
Well, I think it's more thoughtful in general because they spent 23 movies building it up and doing all this stuff. Zack Snyder tried to jam everything in, and they didn't build up the mythos. They didn't, build it up like the MCU. They tried to jump right to the Avengers. And the Avengers movie worked because of the build-up and the relationships that they established and all that kind of stuff. And
the Avengers movies also worked because Robert Downey Jr. playing Tony Stark from day one doing Iron Man was so far superior to Ben Affleck playing Batman. It's not even close. That's the difference in the movies. You had actors who actually brought it. Momoa compared to, say, Thor in the MCU, just not even close. It's just, Anyways, I that was a mini Rosner rant.
So, all right. So we'll check back with you in a couple weeks. But I'm enjoying it as well, and I'm going with Sharon as the power broker. That's I'm going.
Agreed.
No way.
I'm going all in with that.
No way.
Okay, Zach. For those of you who think Zach is Zach v. Jeff in the battle of who will be right.
It's not the power broker. That doesn't make sense.
In another, does any of it make sense? I mean, they have superpowers, Zach. Anyway, okay.
No, Sam does not. Sam is a technical tactician. He doesn't have superpowers.
I know Sam without his wings. Oh, that was the best part of Winter. I was always telling my wife. I literally turn to my wife and go, in the comics they call him the Black Falcon, but in the movies he's just the Falcon. And then they do a whole great scene where the kid's like, "My dad says you're the Black Falcon." So that was the best scene in the whole series so far, I thought. And he explains to him why he's just the Falcon. It was like, that was great. Anyway.
I thought the one line in this last episode that was fantastic. That was a clear throwback to Captain America, Winter Soldier, was when he's in the car and he says, "You're not going to move the seat up, are you?"
All right, let's talk about episodes again, so Marci can smile. Well, this is the time when Bob, who dropped off prematurely, would have done his. But I can catch everyone up on. This is sorry, I didn't know I was going to do something this right now, but this is the Sinner season 2, which I'm not going to talk about. Just as a recap, I'm going to talk about the Sinner season 3. So season 1, loved. Season 2, mostly loved. Season 3, Jerry warned me from the audience of what season 3 was. I enjoyed season 3, but I didn't like it. I had to kind of push myself through it. They kind of break their own kind of format, and it's like this whole weird different way that they approach it, and what's his name, Bill Pullman, he just does some things that are just too crazy. And it's like, of the 8 episodes, I'm like, this could have been 2 episodes. I felt like 6 of them were like, they just had to keep stretching this thing. So the whole idea is, and I can't remember the character's name, but what's his name? Chris Messina, Nick Haas. His name's Nick Haas, and he gets caught up with this guy from college. It's more in flashback, but he comes back to his life, and they live on the. They have this creed or something. It was. Zach can help me out with this.
I haven't seen Sinner.
But like they want to live on the edge. Like you have to experience death to live, type thing. The only way to really live is to kill someone else. There is no. There's the whole mode of how they are existing is crazy. Anyway, I didn't enjoy season 3 as much. There is a season 4 coming, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of cap that. I don't have much to say on it. I wasn't really going to talk about it, but since Bob just left because he can't have a thing, I did see Godzilla versus Kong though, and that was pretty awesome. That was pretty. If you love monster movies, holy cow!
If you love monster movies and don't care about humans unless they're text messaging, you'll love Godzilla versus Kong.
The little girl in King Kong versus Godzilla, like the little girl that can communicate with Kong, was the cutest and the greatest character in the movie outside of the 2 Titans. And
there's only one actual character in that movie, and it's Kong. Kong is the only one that has any sort of arc whatsoever. So, like, he's really the only thing that changes throughout that movie. But I agree, that little deaf girl was the best part of it.
Right, and most of the people watching right now are like, you're right, Godzilla didn't have an arc.
But no, I mean, humans didn't. Nobody did. Only Kong. Kong learned stuff. Kong found things. Kong researched his history. Kong weaponized. Kong somehow jumped through the entire Earth for some reason. Kong learned gravity. Kong learned how to get supercharged. Kong learned how to have a friend. Godzilla just fought and smiled.
Well, that's because that's who Godzilla is. And everything you just said about Kong, I'm like, how is it that Kong is learning? How is it that Kong is
I have no idea.
Kong just shows up in the middle of the earth.
I feel like it might be some sort of political statement.
And just picks up a little axe before he gets his ass kicked by Godzilla. But they did come together at the end. It was a joyous thing. Marci, did you see Godzilla versus King Kong?
No, I have not seen that. Is anyone watching Ginny and Georgia? Anything like that, you guys? There's a lot of guys on this show.
I did. No, I watched Ginny and Georgia. It's
you
fine.
Did? Yeah,
I did. It's been number 1 on Netflix for a bunch of weeks for some reason. It's fine. It's fine. It's like, this fun. Is Gilmore Girls on the road. It's cool.
It's good. It goes well with my wine.
Yeah. I was just laughing earlier, Jeff, when you were explaining The Sinner. Marci was looking at the laptop the way that my dad looks at me when I try to explain what a podcast is. He's like, wait, so it's radio? And I'm like,
well I was trying to.
As
soon as he said Bill Pullman or whatever his name, I was like, I know what that is. I've never watched it, but I've scrolled through it. I'm like, no.
Well, you've never watched it because it's on the USA Network. The only reason I ever watched it is
not on Netflix?
Well, it is. That's the only reason I watched it because they moved it to. But your mom thought it sucked too.
Yeah. Whoa.
Listen, she knows her stuff. Okay. She's got my Netflix password.
I'm very disappointed, Jeff, to learn. I just learned today that a show that I reviewed on the first ever segment called Crossing the Streams on your podcast back in the fall. I'm Sorry with Jessica Hahn. Dr. Angelface on True TV. They did 2 amazing seasons, and it's now been canceled after COVID.
Where she's a comedy writer?
Yes.
Wait, what's the show? What's the show?
She's on episodes.
Was she really?
Yes, she's on episodes, and I love I'm Sorry.
It was called I'm Sorry. It was on TV. It was her, and
so
it was
funny.
What's his name?
Who's the writer with the curl? He's got the curly hair.
That Thing You Do.
He's the drummer.
Yeah. He's Guy in That Thing You Do.
He's so funny.
Casey
She's on episodes. I rest my case. Drop mic. Okay.
Oh, bro. Aaron, if you're a Springsteen fan, check out my podcast. I interviewed Billy Van Zandt. That's Stevie's brother.
Yes,
it really
I did tell him to watch that.
We do talk about Bruce Springsteen on it a little bit. There's some interesting stories, but I'm not going to tell you what they are. You have to go listen to the podcast. Anyway, all right. Well, I guess we've come to the end of another, what I like to call an amazing show. Marci, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. What a pleasure.
What a pleasure. Say goodbye to everyone, Marci.
Bye, you guys. Do I get to sing a goodbye song?
If you write one, sure.
Sure. Howard, say goodbye to everyone.
Goodbye, everybody. As always, all this week, I'll be right here on my couch.
Zach, say goodbye to everyone. Tell everyone your podcast.
Goodbye, everybody. I have 1 billion podcasts, but you can see them all at somenobodies.com. Some Nobodies. That's me.
Sal, take it away.
You can listen to me and the guy that's not on here, Bob, on the Sal and Bob Show. He does not leave that podcast for some reason. And also my tour dates at saldemilio.com. Thanks for watching and listening, everybody.
As always, this episode is brought to you by Snap, Crackle, and Pop. We're keeping Bob off the air as long as possible. Thank you. I'm Jeff DeWaskin. Thank you all for coming. Host of Live from Detroit, The Jeff DeWaskin Show. Listen to my Liz Priestley episode. Listen to Billy Van Zandt. So many great everywhere you
guys later.
We'll see you next Wednesday and every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, right here. I'm live on YouTube and on Facebook. We're crossing streams. We're coming back.
See you guys.
Bye.
Adios.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Crossing the Streams, brought to you by scenesnobs.com and part of the Jeff DeWaskin Show. Your hosts, of course, Jeff DeWaskin, Sal D'Amelio, Bob Phillips, Ron Lippett, and Howard Rosner. Follow us all on the socials, and we'll see you next week and every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Mark your calendars. We're going live and crossing more streams.